Yes. So I will write again one more time function definition, and we'll see what the next content we are learning. So what is the syntax I said for function definition? First we will write a def followed by function name, followed by I have written arguments A1, A2, A3 like that. How many arguments your function expecting? That many arguments you can write. And the related information, this block level information, you have to write with the indentation, and you can write some set of statements at here. Next, after completion of this, you are going to return a value. This is the syntax. And we have written different what we call methods related to this function. Now today's class, we will go for how many ways we can supply arguments. Okay. Next, how many values a function can return. In previous class, we learned these are like a optional things. But today's class, how many possible ways we have to supply values to this function, and how many values a function can return. That things we need to learn. So first one, how many ways we can supply arguments. So this one we need to learn. Second one, how many values a function return. So these things we need to learn in today's class. So coming to here, we have different ways to supply arguments to the function. First one is positional argument. Positional argument, and the other name of this one is required argument. I will show whether they are the required arguments or not with example. Next, I will convey the way we have written. We are going to write a program, and how to check whether it is positional or not. Second one, key arguments. Third one, default arguments. And fourth one, arbitrary arguments. Okay, so under arbitrary arguments, we have two types. First one, arbitrary positional arguments. Next one, arbitrary key value arguments. Okay, so if you understand this concept, these functions supplying arguments is clear. Next, second one, how many values a function can return. So function can return multiple values. Okay, multiple values a function can return. So let us see how this is going to be implemented using Python. We will learn. So first one, we will go for positional argument. When it is positional argument, you should go for with arguments method. Least bother how many values it can return, how it is written. So here, first I am going for positional argument. Why we are calling it as a positional argument? Because while supplying values to a function, in which order you will supply, that same order it will store. So here, def is one function, def is one keyword. I am going to implement one function which is a display. And what does this display doing? It is expecting 4 values, A, B, C, D. These 4 values this function is expecting. And after collecting this value, just I am going to print what are the values they are. Print B, print C, and print D. Okay. So this is the way I have defined one function. Next, I will execute the program. So I will show this one directly. So defining a function which is the display, which is accepting the 4 arguments. Next, what does this function doing? Just it is printing what are the values you have supplied, that all values I am printing. Next, just I am going to convey task has completed. Now I am executing this program. So here I have defined, but I am not passing any values to this one. And I am not invoking this one. So when I execute this, you can see task has completed. But what is my job? I want to execute this function. So that I am going to call this function using its own method name. So display. And how many values this function expecting? 4 values it is expecting. Next, what can I do? Definitely, I should supply the 4 values. So 10, 20, 30, 40. I have given these 4 values. When you give these 4 values, in which order you are supplying the arguments, in the same order they will copy. Means this 10 value will be copies to A variable, 20 value copies to B, 30 value copies to C, 40 value will be copies to D. So in which position that variable has declared, in the same order they can be assigned. That is the reason why we are calling them as a positional argument. In which position this 10 is available, in the same position variable it will be copies. Now I am running. So can you see this first one will be copies to A. A has printed 10 value, 20, 30, 40. So are they copied in the same positions or not? Yes. So that we are calling this one as a positional argument. And what is the another name I said? We call this one as a required argument also. Required argument. Why I am calling it as a required argument? Because how many values this function is expecting, that many number of values you must supply. Are you clear? So here this display function expecting 4 values. So I should definitely give 4 values only. So here you may ask, sir, could you show me what happens when I supply 3 values? So here 4 variables are there, but I am sending 3 values. So is it possible? It is not variable. Now I am going to execute this one. When I execute this one, you can see one error. What is the error it has reported? What is the error? Display is missing one required. So is this D is required or not? This D is required and positional argument. Position means I should supply in the same position, and required means this value definitely it is expecting. So did I show proof whether it is required and positional argument or not? Yes. So I definitely need to supply 4 out of 4 values. Okay. Now I won't get any error. Every value will be copies. Here you have to raise one more question. Sir, here my function is expecting 4 values, but I am giving 5 values. So can you tell what happens? Is it valid or invalid? Function expecting 4 values, I am supplying 5 values. So this is also invalid. 434, it is invalid. Listen here. I will tell you one simple example, real-time example. Here one father has 4 children, but father bought 5 chocolates. What happened? We can see Third World War in our home. Yes or no? One father has 4 children, but he brought 5 chocolate. So is it problem or not? Similarly, this function is expecting 4 values, but I am giving 5 values. Is it valid? Invalid. Now we will check whether it is working or not. So here display is expecting 4 positional argument. Only 4 values I need. But how many you are giving? 5 values you are giving. So is it accept? It won't accept. Then what do you understand from positional and required argument? How many values this function is expecting? Definitely we need to supply that many number of values. I hope it is clear to you. Now I am running this one. Now it will work fine. So what is the first one? Positional and required argument. So you are going to call this function with the definitely same number of argument. And these values will be copies in the same position. If I supply 3 values, which gives error. If you supply more than 4 values, still it will give error. This is also error. Okay, so I hope you are clear how to write positional argument. Next one. What is the second one? Key value argument. Third one, second one. What is the second one? Key value arguments. How can I write key value? So here, when I go for this function, so here definitely I need not to know in which order that variables are available. In which order that variables are available. So what is my, here, if I know the order, then I can give in the same order. But there is no probability of knowing in which order they have defined. Now I have written in the alphabetical order, so you can remember. But always it is not possibility to remember. Then how can I supply values? So here, while supplying a values, okay, so display, previously I have supplied 10, 20, 30, 40, where they are copied in the same position argument. But I don't know in which order they have written. But what is my job? I want to assign B value with 30, A value with 20, and C value with 40, and D value with 10. This is the way I have assigned. So previously what I did, I have given in the same order. But when you don't know this order and you know what are the variables value you need to assign. In such cases, instead of going for the positional argument, you can give the value to the variable which is available at this place. So at that time, you need not to supply these values in the same order. You can give in any order, but that values will be copies to the respective variable. So here B values, what do you see in the second line? This will be assigned with the 30. What is the value will be copies to A variable? This 20 will be copies in A variable. In C variable, 40 will be copies. In D variable, 10 will be copies. Now let us check whether it is working or not. Yes, can you see? Yes. So here you may ask, sir, I am going to give extra variable and minus 10. Is it work? No, because this display function does not have any key which is variable e. So is it valid? It is invalid. So when I run this one, which conveys the unexpected key argument, can you see it as a key argument? 1 minute. Yes. So here I failed. So when this contain e variable, which will be copies with -10. But is this function contains e variable? No. But what I am doing, I am trying to supply -10 value to e variable, which is not available. So what my function conveys? Display function got an unexpected key argument. Can you see key argument? Am I giving key argument or not? Yes, which key argument? E is the key argument I am supplying, but it is not available. Then what do you understand from this one? So when you don't know the order in which order the variables are present, and if you don't want to give the in the positional way, you can go for key value argument. Then these values will be copies to the respective variable. Right. I can see this one. So this is called as a key value argument. Next one. How do we write key value argument? Display while calling the function. You have to give a value as 10, C value as 30, D value as 20, and B value as 40. This is the way you need to supply. 434, can we define one variable 2 times with a different values? No, ma. No, it is not possible. I will show your all doubts at the end of the class. Please go through the content what I am saying. I will give you 5 minutes of time. At the end of the class, you can ask your different questions. Right. So this is the second way we can go for key value argument. And third one. The third one is, what is that? Default argument. Default argument. So here, while defining a function, so therefore, function name I have given display. So previously what I have given a comma, b comma, c comma, d I have given, like that I have given. So here, when you give like this, you must supply these 4 out of 4 values definitely. But if you do not supply the value, then it has given an error, like 1 positional argument missing, 2 positional argument missing, like that it has converted. But while defining a function, for this each variable, I am going to give a default value. Finding this variable, I am going to initialize this a value as 0, b value as 0, c value as 0, d value as 0, like that I have assigned. So here, this a variable is going to be associated with the 0 value. Next, what I am doing, what are the values I am going to supply? That everything I am going to print at this place. Print C and print D I am writing. Okay. So what I am doing? So here I am going to call this display function. How many variables I have defined? 4 variables I have defined. So I am giving 10, 20, 30, 40. So which method I am following here? Positional argument. So when you pass these 4 out of 4 variables, in such cases, this a variable is going to be copied with the 10 value. This is going to represent 10. This second position value will be copies to B, and third position value will be copies to C, and fourth position value will be copies to D. This is the way it will copy. If in case while supplying values to this function, so display, if you fail to give 4 values, how many values I have given? 3 values I have given. How many variables I have defined? 4 variables I have defined. In previous case, did I give the default value to the variable? I did not give. When you did not give default values, this program has given an error like one positional argument D is missing. But right now, what I did, I have given the default values. If you give the default happens, this 10 value will be assigned to A variable. This 20 value will be assigned to B variable. 30 value will be assigned to C variable. But am I supplying fourth value? I am not supplying. When you do not supply, what is the default value this D has, which will be copies. Okay. So if I execute this one, so you will get 10. You will get 10 value for this A. You will get 20 value for this B. You will get 30 value for this C. But the default D value will be printing 0 because I have assigned the D value. What is the value you will get when you supply this value? 10, 20, 30, 40 will be printed. So here I am not supplying anything. I am calling display function, but I am not supplying any values. When you do not supply any values, what happens? I will get all these values as 0 because every variable is associated with its own default value. Can I supply these values like a key value argument? Yes, you can supply. Okay. So these two are comes under the positional argument. Now I am going to supply this one like a key value. So what I am doing, D value I am giving 20, A value I am giving 30. I am supplying only 2 values. Then what about B comma C values? B value will be initialized with the 0 value, and the D value I have given, C value will be initialized with the 0 value. Then what is the output I get? A value 30 will be printed, B value 0 will be printed, C value 0 will be printed, and D value 20 is printed. Now I am going to test these 4 methods and we will test whether this is getting the same results or not. So here, what I am doing? So previously I have not initialized any default values. But right now what I am doing, A value initialized to 0, B value initialized to 0, C value initialized to 0, and question. Sir, definitely I need to give this value as 0. No, based on your requirement, you can give your own value. Okay. So here, what I am doing, I am going to call display 10, 20, 30, 40 I am giving. Next, just I am going to print 1 star messages because I want to see the difference of 2 outputs. Now you can see. So can I see 10, 20, 30, 40? Yes, it is working fine. Next, what I am going to do, display. I will supply only 3 values. But how many variables it has? 4 variables it has. Now when I run this one, what is the D value it will print? 0 will be printed. Now you observe. So when you go for this A 10, B 20, C 30, D has 10. D has 0, it has printed. Next one. Next, third one. I will go for display where I am not supplying any values. Can you expect what are the values it will print? I am not supplying anything. So everything associated with its own default values. So I can see all values as 0. Next one, along with that, I am going, first I will check these all things. So print Next, when I run this one, yes, for this third output, I can see all values as 0. Next, what will I do? I am going to assign these values using a key arguments. So how can I give? Display. I am giving C value as 20, D value as 40. But am I giving A comma B values? I am not giving A comma B values. Then what is the output we will get? 0 as A value. B value is 0, C value is 20, and D value is 40 because I am giving only C comma D values. Now I want to execute this one and can check whether it is printing like this or not. Yes, this is working fine. Next one. Here you have to raise one more question. Sir, previously you said all are positional argument. I did not give any default argument. But coming to here, all these 4 variables are default. Can I write mixed type? Means some are default argument, some are non-default argument. Yes, you can write. Now I am going to show the another variant of this display, this function argument. What I am doing? So here, if you go for this, here these all are default argument. And coming to this one, all are positional argument. Now what I am doing? I am going to make a function with these 2 types. So when I go for this one, you have to follow one constraint. Okay. So note, defining function with the positional, and what is the other name? Required arguments and default arguments. These both I am going to include in my function. But while including, you should follow one constraint. What is that constraint? Definitely, first argument should be positional and follows default. First, you can write A comma B comma C. These are positional argument. Followed by, you can write the default argument like D equal to 40, D equal to 0, and E equal to 0. Like that, I am going to define. But if you interchange these two, your function never works. Okay. Next, followed by, you can write your own, it is working or not. What is the condition you should follow? First positional argument followed by default argument. If you write a default argument first, your program cannot execute. Means syntactically the function is invalid. So now I am going to test the invalid condition first. So what I am doing? Def display I am writing. A equal to 0 I am writing. B equal to 0 I am writing. Next C comma D I am writing. Next print B, print C, and print D. You need not to worry whether you are calling or not. This function definition is invalid. Task has completed. Now you observe this one. When I run this program, what is the error it has given? Non-default argument. What is the which type of syntax error? Where here non-default argument follows default argument. First you have defined default non-default argument. First you have defined default argument, followed by non-default you have written. So that it has given error. But I am going to interchange these two things. So first non-default I am writing, followed by default I am writing. Now I am going to run this program. So can I see any error? Which is not giving any kind of error. Are you clear? Yes. But can you see the results of this? No. Please could you tell me at least how many values I need to supply? How many values at least I need to supply? Two values. 12ZZ, you have given correct answer. Because these two values are definite values, means you must give these two values. So here, display function I am writing, 10, 20 I am writing. Next, followed by I am not giving C, D values. Is it works? Yes. When I run this one, I can see A value 10, B value 20, C value 0, D value 0. Play these two values. In different also? Yes. Different order means I do I go for key value arguments. So I am going to assign, can I get output? Yes, we will get the output. What happens? A value will be assigned with 20, B value will assign with 10, and C value default value it will take, D value default value it will take. So when I run this one, this is the way it will print. Next, I am going to give D value as 40 and C value as 20. You can go for any values. When I run this one, these values will be copies to that variable. So this is the way you can. So what do you understand from this function? Can we write positional arguments and default arguments under one function? Yes, we can write. But what is the condition you should follow? First thing, you should write it as a positional argument, followed by you can write default argument, but you should not write this one is first. Here you have to raise one more question. Sir, can I write, I have written A comma B, next followed by C I have given, next D I have given, next followed by I am writing E. Is it work, sir? Please can anyone tell, is it valid or invalid? Is it valid or invalid? Valid. No, 12ZZ, it is not valid. Because what is the rule I said? 434. Yes, it is invalid. This first argument should be positional, followed by default. After default, if you write positional, still it is error. Syntactical error. Now I am going to test this one. So again, what it is showing? Non-default argument follows default argument. So definitely first argument should be positional followed by default. This is the way you have to include this positional and default argument in one function. Next one, arbitrary arguments. Arbitrary arguments. So arbitrary arguments, the other name of this one is unlimited number of arguments. Unlimited number of arguments. Means, so if I go for previous program, so when it is non-default, means first type, positional type, how many variables you have given, definitely that many number of values I should supply. Okay, so this thing we observed in the positional argument. What about second type? Key value argument. This is also like a positional argument. Next one, when you go for default argument, and when you are all variables where you have included in the function definition, if all are default argument, then how many values you can supply? Either that same number of argument or less than 2, that many number of arguments you can supply. Means I can supply 4, I can supply 3, even I need not to supply, or you can supply custom number of values. But here, you cannot cross more than 4 at here. But what is my job? I need to define one function. That function should accept any number of arguments. If I give 1, it should accept 1. If I don't give anything, it should execute. If I give 100 values, it should accept. Then how can I do that one? Then you have to go for another technique, that is the arbitrary argument or unlimited number of arguments. So how can we write this unlimited number of argument? So similarly, you have to write a def keyword, followed by you have to write the function name, followed by variable, and prefix of this variable you must write star. Okay, this star indicates that this one variable allowed to store all the values, any number of values. Okay, so next followed by what I am doing, I am going to write some set of statement at this place. I will write some set of statement at this place. So I will go for one simple example. So same thing, def I am writing, display I am writing. So as usual, what I am doing, star A I have given. Next, I am going to do some logic at this place. So while calling this one, so just I am using the display function, followed by I will give one value. Is it accept? Yes, it will accept. I am going to write the display function with the 10, 20. Is it accept? Yes, it will take these two values, will be copies into a variable. Next, I am going to give display with the 10 values, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. How many values I am supplying? 10 values I am supplying. Is it accept? Yes, this is also accept. But how this A variable can store these values? It will accept these all values, and this A variable is going to prepare a tuple. How these all values can be stored? It will store in this A variable as a tuple type. Means it is going to prepare a data structure. Okay, if you print A, so these all values will be print in the tuple format. So what is the output you are expecting for this one? 10, comma will be printed. I hope you remember. While creating a tuple, if it is one element tuple, definitely we should give comma. Next, when it is display, for this case, I will get tuple 10, 20 and will be enclosed in the parenthesis. And how can you get 10, 20, 30 like that? It will store up to 100. So let us check whether it is accepting these all values like a tuple or not. So here, def display, what I am doing, star A I am writing. Star A means this A variable allows to take multiple values. Next, what I am doing, just I am printing A. What is A? You need not to write star notation prefix of this A while executing while printing the value. But while accepting the value in the function definition, you must write star. Next, what I am doing, just I am giving only one value to this display function. Display, just one value I am giving. Next, followed by simply I am printing task has completed. Now, when I run this one, yes. So what it is printing? 10, comma, it has printed. Means 10 is belonging to which type? Tuple type. Here you have to raise one more question. Sir, could you show me whether it is tuple or not? How can I show? By giving this argument A value to a type function then it will return which type it is. So is it showing like it is belonging to a tuple type or? Yes. Next one. What can I do? I am going to supply two values. 10, 20. Yes, 10, 20, which is accepting like a tuple. Next, I am going to give multiple values. These many number of values. I am giving all ones, but observe here how many values I am supplying. These many number of values I am supplying to my function. Next, when I execute this, yes, this everything will be accepting like a tuple. So is there any constraint to send this many number of variables? There is no any constraint. You can supply any number of arguments which can accept. Are you clear? Next one. Here you have to raise one more question. Sir, can I write combinations at this place? Okay. So I will show you. So what is the combination we are trying to write? First one. Positional with the arbitrary argument. So how can I write? First def I will write, and first I will write a def followed by function name I will write. Function name I will write. First I will test positional argument A followed by arbitrary argument star B I am writing. Is it accept? Yes, this will accept. Next, I am going to print what is A and I am going to print what is B. So how can I call? I am going to call this one. So instead of function name, directly I will write function name as display. Display. So here, while I am calling argument and mandatory argument A variable, so that I should supply A value. So when I call this display function with only one value, what happens? This 10 value will be copies to A variable, and this B, I am not supplying any values to this one. At that time, this B can be preparing a empty tuple. So what is the output I can get? Output, this 10 will be copies to this A variable, and this A is going to be print. So 10 will be print, and this for this B, I am not supplying any values. So you can see empty tuple. Now we will check whether it is working or not. So what I am doing, just a prefix of this one, I am removing star. Next followed by B, I have written. Next I am going to print B. Here, how many values definitely I need to supply? Only one value definitely I need to supply. So 10 I am supplying. When I supply 10, what happens? This 10 value will be copies to A variable, and I am not supplying any value. So B will become empty tuple. So when I run this one, you can see 10 value. So to know whether it is A, yes, 10 value, and this B become empty tuple. Next one, I will supply two values. What happens? Again, this 10 will be copies to A variable, and from 20 onwards, it is going to be copies to B variable. So what is the output I can get? Wait, I will write it here. Display. I am supplying 10, 20. Then what happens? This 10 will be copies to A variable. So I can see 10. This 20 will be copies to this B. So this one become the tuple, so 20 comma will be appear. So 10, 20, and when I run this one, I can see 20, 30. Next, if I supply 30, 40, 50, 60, what happens? These all values will be accepted like a tuple, and the first value will be copies to a variable. Right. This one is working fine. Next case. What is the second one? So here, the same thing I am going to write in the reverse order. So display star A I am writing followed by B. So can you tell whether it is valid or invalid? Without executing this one, you should tell whether it is valid or invalid. Already we have done the same thing using positional type. Can you tell whether it is valid or invalid? Don't test it directly, you should tell. So this is valid. 5K1, this is valid. So first I will check whether this syntactically returns error or not. So what I am doing, least bother whether you are supplying values or not. What I am doing, star A I am writing, and I am not writing any, I am writing, what is this? Positional argument followed to the arbitrary argument. I am not calling this function, just I am executing. Is it written any error? It is not returning any. Next, how can I supply values? So when you supply this print 10, then what happens? So this 10 will be where it will be copies. Is it copies to A or B? So this 10 will copies to A variable and B is empty. When B is empty, what is the error you get? This one will be, what is that? Positional argument. So definitely it will return error. What happened? Task is completed. A printed. 1 minute, guys. A, B value I am supplying. Next, when I run this one, oh, sorry, what I did? Directly I am printing A. Display, I am printing 10. So is it valid? This is invalid. So why it is invalid means this 10 will be copies to this A variable. Okay, but are you giving this positional value B? I am not giving. So it will give error. So what is the error it is returning? Display missing one key required argument it is missing. Okay, I will give 20. Still what happens? This 10 comma 20 will be taken by this A variable. B does not assign with any value. Still it is giving me one missing argument. Which argument? Required argument. Then how can I assign B values? You should go for key argument. You should give key argument when second argument in your display function is positional and first one is argumentary. When first argument is unlimited number of argument and second one is positional argument, then what you understand? This is the valid syntax, but to assign B value, you definitely go for key argument. So B should be 30 I am giving. Then what happened? This B is going to be assigned with 30 and the given values are going to be assigned to this A variable. So A is printing tuple with 10 comma 20 and B is initializing with 30. So is this clear? Now, I am not giving any value prefix of this one. Directly, I am giving B value as 30. Is it valid? Invalid? Is it valid? Invalid? Directly, I am giving, yes, 1260, right? Very good. B value I am giving. Tell me what about A value? Am I supplying any value to A? I am not supplying. Then what this A become empty tuple. This A become empty tuple. So can you see A become empty tuple, but B must be, B value will be 30. But can I give 10 comma 20 like this? If you give any number of values like this, these all values will be taken by A only. B never initialize. Definitely you should go for B value as 50 or any required value to this one. Then B will be initialized. So is there any constraint of writing positional argument? When you integrate with arbitrary argument? No. You can write arbitrary argument, then after positional argument. Or you can write positional argument followed by arbitrary argument. Here you have to raise one more question. Sir, like this I have written, is it valid or invalid? Can anyone respond? Is it valid or invalid? Is it valid or invalid? Valid. 12ZZ, this is valid. But how can I supply? So when I execute these C values also, print C equal to C. So while I am supplying. So is it valid supply? Is it valid supply? Invalid supply. Invalid supply. Very good. Next, display 10, 20, 30, 40, C equal to 50. Is it valid supply? Yes, this is valid supply. Next, display 10, C equal to 20. Is it valid? This is valid. Is it valid? 1260 valid. Now what we need to test, whether they are working or not, we will check. So I am removing this two. Now I am running. Yes, which has shown me that one missing argument C. Yes, so this is invalid. We have proved this one. Next one. I am going to test this one. Then what happens? This A is going to be copies with the 10. 20, 30, 40 will be copies to this arbitrary argument B. C will be copies with 50. Now I am running. Yes, this has copied as I expected. Next one, I will go for this third one. So 10 will be copies to A. C 20 will copies to C. What about B? B become empty tuple. B become empty tuple. Very good. When I run this one, yes, B is printing empty tuple. So I hope you are clear the combinations of these all. Okay, right. Next one and the last one. arbitrary key value arguments. Key value arguments. So how can I write key value arguments? So key value means while supplying value. So in the previous case, I have written. So which is key value? I am supplying the C equal to 20. Means I am giving key is nothing but this variable name. Value is nothing but this 20. So key value. Which type it is key value? Arbitrary. What is meant by arbitrary? Unlimited number of key and value pairs I am giving. So let us check how it will be right. We should follow. So followed by, how did you write? Just you have written one star followed by variable name you have written. But when you go for key value argument, you have to write with the 2 stars. You have to write with the 2 stars followed by, you can give the indentation at here, followed by you can write a required number of statements at this place. Next we have to call this function. So I will go for one example and let us see how it will work. So definition followed by function name I am writing display. Next followed by star star A I am writing. Next just I am printing what is A. Next I will go for values. So which type of values I should supply? Key values. So display function I am writing A equal to 10. So I will take this one as X, don't confuse. This one is X. A is 10 I am giving. B is 20 I am giving. C equal to 30 I am giving. D equal to 40 I am giving. Then what happens? So these all values will be taken by this X variable. But how it will accept? This X is accepting this all data as a dictionary type. Which type? It will accept like a dictionary. How dictionary look like? Square bracket, curly braces. This A will be taking like a key and colon. This 10 is accepting like a value. Next B is a key followed by 20 is a value. C is like a key and 30 is a value. D is key and 40 is the value. This is the way it will prepare the data structure. This is called dictionary. Now we will check whether it is dictionary or not. So here, what I am doing, I am going to erase this everything. Def display star star X I am writing. Next, what will I do? I am going to print X. Next, display 10. How can I supply? A equal to 10, B equal to 20, C equal to 30. Like that, I am supplying. Next, when and along with that, I am going to test whether it is dictionary or not. How can I check? I am going to give this variable to the type function. It will convey which type it is. When I run this one, can you see this way? A assigned with 10, B assigned with 20, C assigned with 30. And it is going to create like a dictionary type. Is it clear? Yes. Here you have to raise one more question. Is it possible? Can you tell me what I did? Just I have given A comma X star star X I have written. Is it valid or invalid? If you are aware with arbitrary arguments and understanding this one is not a complex thing. I am going to run. Then tell me what happens. So here I have one key positional argument A. Am I giving key value as 10A or not? Yes. Then what happened? This A is going to be initialized with this 10 value. What about X? X is going to copy B and C value. Now let us check whether it is printing or not. So what do you see? X, B and C. Can you see B and C? Then what happens? What happens to this A? A became, this A variable value become 10. So if I print A, you can see 10, this 10 will be copies to this A variable. B comma C is initialized to this key value pair. When I run this one, yes, I can see 10 followed by this one. Can you tell me what happens when I write like this? Is it valid or invalid? Is it valid or invalid? Now observe here. When I no, see here, what happens? See, invalid. 12ZZ, is it clear why it is invalid? So when it is arbitrary argument, positional argument, what happens? I can give positional argument left side and right side. But when it is key value argument, can I give like this? No, right side it is not possible, but left side you can give. So this is the way these all variable values will be work. Now, next in the coming class, we will go for how can we supply these multiple values from the function. How can we return multiple values from the function? So what are the ways we learn in today's class? How many ways we can supply argument to the function we learn. These are the different types and we have seen everything with the example. And tomorrow's class, we will go for how many ways we can return a value. So this can allow multiple values can be written. We will see how it can be written in the coming class. Okay, guys. Bye. We'll meet again in tomorrow's class.